G'day guys and welcome to Raging Rhino. With the end of The Acolyte, you would have thought that that was all we were going to get. It was one and done. That's all she wrote. That's it. And of course, being that this was a massive disaster, not only in regards to ratings, but also in regards to the fact that it destroys a lot of lore, canon, and continuity when it comes to Star Wars, despite what the shills and the seals want to say. Oh, it's 100 years in the past. They decanonized everything. Blah, 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 blah. Despite all of that noise, you would think that with the way that this show was received by actual Star Wars fans, that would be the end of it. However, that's not necessarily the case. So over here on That Park Place, they are saying that Leslie Headland begs the Acolyte viewers to launch social media campaign for a second season. Now, it's funny that we get something like this coming from Leslie Headland when we were all, called racist, misogynistic bigots for review bombing this show. And now she wants positive review bombing to come in. She wants the very low amount of fans that actually like this, the Disney Star Wars fans that like this, to launch a social media campaign so that she can get her second season, so she continues telling her Oshimir story. So let's just take a look at what she actually had to say here. So this was an interview that she did with Collider, where the Acolyte creator, Leslie Headland, was asked what fans needed to do to ensure a second season happens. She says, quote, "Truly, any online support and love you can send the show. It's a little tricky because of the way that the internet works." Really? I thought it would have been a lot easier because of the way the internet works. Anyway, but if you enjoyed the show and you want to see more of the story, any support that you can give the show on social media platforms would be super helpful. Now, I find it funny that, of course, the fans came out and actually said what they thought about this and how they think that it's an absolute disaster, how the characters were depicted, how the story flowed, which there is really no flow to the story. All of these little bits and pieces that the fans have actually been saying, and then, of course, the lore, canon, and continuity of Star Wars being absolutely annihilated through this series. But it's funny that we get called out for review bombing, but now they're begging the Disney shills and the Disney seals to get out there with their hashtag. And I did a video on this before we got the final episode of this series, where, of course, it was trending. This Renew the Acolyte was trending, with only, 2,500 to maybe 3,000 posts. And it was trending. And this is basically what it comes down to at the moment, is how much people can actually talk about it through social media. Not about the scores that you see on Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. And I do find it funny as well that this was sitting around 14% for a really, really long time. Then it went to 15%. As you can see on my thumbnail, that's why I put 15% on there. But now, because they're begged for positive review bombs, we're now sitting at 17%. They're making it climb back up, so hopefully they can actually greenlight a second season. Now, I truly believe that a second season was already on the cards and most likely very close to being greenlit, if not already being greenlit, because they left this series so open for that second season, despite the fact that all of those things don't mean anything and no one cares, right? But the people that do care are the people that care about this. Again, I don't know whether or not this was a companion piece from Collider, but it says, Chimera and Ahsoka's dynamic is what we've been waiting for in Star Wars. Is it really? Is that what we've been waiting for in Star Wars? You know what I've been waiting for in Star Wars as a Star Wars fan? Actual Star Wars. If you can depict actual Star Wars on the screen, that'd be really, really nice, Disney Lucasfilm. But I also just want to point out a couple of things here. This is Collider, and if you just do a search for The Acolyte, this Star Wars novel has everything you need to know about Plagueis, and it talks about the Plagueis novel, which is completely decanonized by Disney, but they're using that as your reference to give you what? How does what happens in this series tie into the novel? Or how does the novel actually tie into this series? It absolutely destroys Darth Plagueis, being that he is there and knows everything that's happened. when you actually read that novel and realize that it wasn't actually Darth Plagueis that actually created Anakin? What's the status of the Sith by the Acolyte's finale? No one cares about these things. No one cares about these things. You know what the only thing people care about, or the Disney Star Wars fans and shills actually care about, is Oshimir. That's it. That's what they want to see. There was another one in here, actually. There was another headline. Where is it? This wasn't the one that I was looking for, but this is actually very interesting because, again, the Acolyte trails behind The Boys and House of the Dragon as most talked about series online. Yes, the reason why the Acolyte's being talked about the most is because of the amount of destruction that it actually does. That's why people are talking about that. You know, when people are talking about House of the Dragon, it is mostly, if not completely positive. It is a great series, House of the Dragon. And I don't know about The Boys because I'm not into The Boys. I haven't watched any of it. But when it comes to The Acolyte and how much the series has been talked about online, it is complete disaster. Other than the shills and the seals using the hashtag Renew the Acolyte. I mean, again, here's another headline from them, and this was only from 3 days ago. The Acolyte's finale flipped the script on Return of the Jedi's most iconic scene. This was the other thing, too, with this entire series, is that Leslie Headland was only able to plagiarize stuff from either better Star Wars or better movies, like the scene from The Fugitive and stuff like that, and of course, rip off lines from better Star Wars. And of course, they have to try and tie it as like this really positive thing that she flips the script on a Return of the Jedi thing. But there was a headline, I can't find it anymore, but there was a headline that talks about how these two is the love story that people are wanting. And again, like I said, it really just comes down to now the Disney shills and the Disney seals and the shippers, and that is all they really care about. That is all they really want, is these guys ship together, the enemies to lovers, and it is an absolute joke and an absolute abomination. So go for it, Disney. Go for it, Leslie Headland. Go for it, Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy and Pablo Hidalgo and everybody else there over at Lucasfilm. Do a season 2. It helps everybody's channels grow because it's so bad that people are more excited about watching people's YouTube videos than they are about watching the series. And if they are watching the series and talking about it online, it is an absolute disaster. So go for it. Do your season 2. Please renew the Acolyte. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Later, guys.